At this point, the Rogue One scene with Darth Vader that has been leaked online countless times before being removed by Disney has surfaced for many to see. However, for those who have refrained from seeing it, click away from this video. Are they gone? Okay, good. In the final end of Rogue One, we get the most epic scene that Vader fans have been waiting for since the launch of Episode 4 in 1977. The part where Vader literally slices his way through Rebels in order to get to the plans. The following that I'm about to read is from the novelization itself, which puts more depth and gravity on Vader's arrival to the scene in question, along with the narration of how he felt, what he saw, and his thoughts. Since I can't use copyrighted footage, unfortunately, I'll use as many images as I can to properly bring this video to life. Enjoy. The Rebel flagship is disabled, my lord. The Devastator's captain reported crisply at Vader's side. Darth Vader did not turn to him as he spoke.
But it has received transmissions from the surface.
Vader stared at the burning ship. There was death at play, suffering, and fear. Yes, and something entirely different. Something that repelled his withered, agonized flesh.
Prepare a boarding party,
he said. Yes, my lord. The destruction of the Citadel, the lancing of the Scarif with the Death Star's super laser, the evaporation of a sea, and the disintegration of archipelagos sent a tremor through Vader's shuttle as Vader and his squad rode to the flagship. Vader felt fear then, too, vast and powerful, and purer than that which emanated from the cruiser. When his vessel reached the flagship and his stormtroopers burned their way through the hull, he started towards the Rebel bridge and then pivoted. Perhaps instinct guided him, perhaps something more. It did not occur to him to wonder. He sent his troops to continue on his prior path and moved alone. The corridor lights flickered while alarms blared. Trapped in the blood-red chamber of his helmet, Vader was troubled by neither. He attuned himself to emanations of panic and desperation, and followed their trail. When he encountered rebels reaching for their blasters or dashing to seal blast doors, he drew his weapon and cut them down with unhurried strokes of his crimson blade. The voice of a stormtrooper spoke to him through his comlink. A data tape was recorded on the bridge just before we boarded. No sign of it here. Vader did not answer, but he bolstered his pace. He wound through the cruiser, leaving corpses behind. He found his prey at last in a corridor thick with rebels blacked against a security door. As particle bolts shot towards him, he watched a data tape pass between desperate soldiers. He knocked the bolts aside with his blade, tore a blaster from one foe with a might that defied nature and gravity, and marched on. He delivered killing stroke after killing stroke, awakened and relentless. The security door opened a mere crack, and rebel hands shoved the tape through. Vader reached through life and matter and air, and by the will alone, he pulled. He fueled his will with rage and fear and need. It was enough to tear the rebel from the door and drop him at Vader's feet, but it was not enough to claim the tape. He grasped the rebel sprawled before him by the throat, lifted him, and stared at him through bloody lenses.
Where are they taking it?
The reply was a strangled whisper. Away from here, the rebel said. Away from you. Vader clenched his gloved hand until the man's neck snapped. Then he tossed the body aside. He activated his comlink and barked to his stormtroopers.
Find their escape vessel.
The prospect of failure crept over his skin like fire. The supremacy of the Death Star could not be jeopardized. The total obliteration of the rebellion remained possible. That it was in question at all was unthinkable. Darth Vader chased his quarry, seeking solace in the final triumph of the Emperor. So Vader was finally disappointed, as we can all imagine how he failed to retrieve the plans for Palpatine. Also, I know I'm not the only one to wish we got the scene of him crushing a rebel's neck through blood-splattered lenses. I also find it interesting how he was originally going towards the rebel bridge, then pivoted to the corridor where the Force pulled him towards it, as if he somehow knew the plans were that way. Did you know this scene wasn't even supposed to happen in the film, until it was heavily advised to be put in, which I'm sure they're glad they did as much as we are. How do you feel about Vader's scene in the film? Was it brutal enough for you, or would you have wanted to see more action? More beheadings, like Revenge of the Sith? I hope you're excited for the new Darth Vader comics coming out in June, which take place just after we see Vader in Revenge of the Sith. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit like to support future videos. And to all the consistent viewers, thank you for watching, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends. I'll see you all in tomorrow's episode of Star Wars Theory. Until then, remember,
the Force will be with you. always.